Welcome to Rain City Supercars. As always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan. And this is our missing episode.
This is the missing episode.
The missing episode, because
the missing episode.
I went across the country again.
I don't know if we haven't decided. So this could come out after the episode that's coming out this week, or come out before, or we don't know.
It'll get there when it gets there.
We have obligations we have to fulfill, and so.
There's always plenty to talk about, though, in the automotive world. But we're brought to you by Haggerty, Avance, Carter Subaru, Rainier Beer. We're not at Drivers Club, so a little bonus episode. And then, our exclusive car care provider of Rain City Supercars is Griot's Garage. Make sure you use Griot's 10 or RCS 10.
Yeah, that too.
For your 10% discount at Griot's on all their products.
I'm getting ready. I got my bike all cleaned up, and
I
think it's time to ceramic coat stuff because I think that's going to help.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the summer riding and things like that, but it's... Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot to it.
No, but I mean, I'm really going to do my best to, really coat it just because, why not? I mean, it's...
it can't hurt.
I know the products will be good, and I can... there's not a lot... Like you said, there's not a ton of sheet metal there, but we'll figure it out.
Well, with a bunch of dust and then just...
especially the wheels.
Yeah, the wheels and spraying
wheels,
the inside. Motorcycle guys, you don't ever want to spray anything in your tires. I should say that obviously, but I've seen a lot of people crash from doing this over the years, so it's not obvious because they'll just build a bigger idiot. Yeah, don't spray tire shine on your tires on the outside of them where they hit the road. It's great for burnouts. It's terrible for motorcycles.
Well, yeah, and you use the sidewalls of a motorcycle tire a lot more than you use the sidewalls of a car tire.
Well, technically, the sidewall on a motorcycle tire is like a half an inch wide. And
good point.
It does have a sidewall, but I have seen it done many times over the years. Guys will spray tire shine on their motorcycle tires and immediately crash.
That's ouch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now they do it on dirt bikes for podiums when they actually display a race dirt bike.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter on a dirt bike. It matters a bit on a street bike.
The dirt will scuff it up. It's
it lasts like a second on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
But anyway, but spraying it on the inside of your fenders while covering your tires is actually a really good idea on a street bike, because then you don't get all that if you ride through. It's not even mud. It's just sometimes you get
or
heavy rain,
sticky dirt.
Yeah, you stuff flings up, and then it'll help keep it off your fenders on the inside of your bike. Makes it way easier to clean and just spray it off. So
especially with the monkeys. I mean that rear tire, even with the fender it kicks back and all over the cylinder head.
Yeah,
that's lots of fun details. So,
I was thinking about for the rally. I was actually looking at that. I'm like, is there something just a cheap thing I can put up there? And there might be actually. The exhaust is there, but I'm going to put it on a skid plate for the rally. Mainly just because I think it'll help. And the rare occasion I might hit a rock or something, I don't want to damage the exhaust. But I was wondering, I might stick a flap in front of the cylinder head there, but it's air cooled, so I got to be careful with that. So
did I tell you I killed the oil cooler?
No.
Yeah.
Rock to it?
Less than 15 or less than 5 minutes on the bike.
What happened?
Well, I got because I have the man in the box intake on the bike,
right?
And it takes up where all the air box is. You can't do the higher mounted oil cooler that sits up behind the fender. So you have to do the one that sits on the top of the cylinder head. And I don't know. I literally wheeled it out of the garage, and I was coming back into the garage a little bit, and I dipped, and I have to do the shocks, and the front wheel hit the cooler and just bent it straight up. So, I think what I'm going to do is I found another one that actually comes with a protective cage, and it's black, so it'll match everything, which is the most important part, that it matches.
Totally.
And I'm going to have David and I are going to fabricate a bracket to take it and put it up top and to make it work with the man in the box, but. Yeah, that was a $200 mistake.
Ooh.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I haven't done the front shocks yet.
Yeah.
And therefore they did well. I mean, I don't truly know what happened, but it was in a place where it's supposed to be there. But there's hundreds of people that ride with those, and it's never happened. So, and I know it was installed correctly. The bracket was right. So, I don't know. Can you install an oil cooler upside down?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as the flow should be pressurized, so I don't see why not.
Yeah. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that's broken and try to basically take it and be my template to try to figure out where I'm going to put the new one. But yeah, it was a ouch mistake, but still, I tell you. I
got to post the pictures you sent me because your bike is looking pretty dang good. I ordered parts immediately after that ride.
It's so much fun. I think I was telling you, I go down for 15-minute projects on the bikes, and I'm down in the garage for 2 hours because people stop me. And it's funny. I told you this too. So many, both people that stopped me the last time were like, "Yeah, I've seen one of these down in Issaquah, a red one." I was like, yeah, I know who that is. I was like, was there a blue one with it? But they always see that. But it's getting. I'm so excited about it. The problem is and I'm this type of personality. the itch is happening. Like I just looked at the release videos for the new Grom, and if I own a Monkey, I don't need a Grom. But wow, I like that new Grom.
I know,
and it's cheaper. And then there's a guy that moved into my building with a brand new Triumph Bonneville. So I left a little note. I was like, "You can come back next to the Triumph if you want to, motorcycle
photo
parking."
shoot. Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I was working on today. In fact, I posted in that group about the Monkey 125 group about security, and because this bike weighs 200 pounds. If somebody wants it, they're going to take it. Like
if they can bench press a lot and they want a bike, they're going to take your Monkey.
I know you can pick it up because when I was working on it, I was picking it up and moving it around. So I've got I went down to our friends at I-90 Motorsports and picked up basically a chain and a big ass lock. It's something that is a better of a deterrent than anything else. And so,
well, I got one of those kryptonite chains. And if you've ever watched Lockpicking Lawyer, which I highly recommend, if you're ever looking at a bicycle lock or a lock in general, the one that any kind of lock for anything ever, you want to go look at Lockpicking Lawyer on YouTube. Yeah. And you'll probably watch it for 10 hours like I did.
Is he the one that has the rivet gun that he hits locks with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy that, the lock manufacturers will send him locks. Yeah. And just be like, hey, can you get into this? And they're the ones that do.
So simple. He's on
oh, yeah. It's just like, he's a lawyer by trade, but in a lockpick, which he probably could make a full-time career. He's got so many views on his channel. He's probably making more off YouTube now than he is off being a lawyer, which is sad to say, but probably true. Yeah. But it's really cool when I see like a lock company will send him stuff and be like, hey, find the weak points in this, and he will, and they'll improve the lock. Kryptonite's done that with him, and so is, what's that one? I forget the name of it. It's I've seen it actually on Instagram of all things.
Is it the one out of England?
No, it's this company where it's like a thumbprint lock.
Oh, yeah.
And normally those are really easy to bypass. They're notoriously bad because any electronic lock typically, think of a lock of actually breaking into it versus being secure, like easy to get into. If you're going to break into an electronic lock, what do? You hit it with a damn hammer right where it's electronic hard enough, and it typically will release. Or you just use a stun gun on it, and it literally overcharges it, and it almost explodes and unlocks. Well, they made I think it's iLock. It's probably something generic like that. But anyway, he's got a big series, though. He chooses the Kryptonite one for himself. And the reason he says is any reasonable thief should not be able to get into this. But he stands by the fact that anybody who wants something bad enough can break into anything. Well, you've got time and an acetylene torch. Good luck. But
I will get in here.
Yeah, or you've got a Harbor Freight grinder. But, if you're in a parking garage with the grinder cutting a lock.
I'm pretty sure the lock would break the grinder if it was Harbor Freight.
Yeah, in one of those, that's what we found is that it's a chain under a sleeve, so you don't scratch everything up with it. Yeah, and then it's just got a...
That's what I got. Mine's out of England. It's one that's highly rated out of England. Like I said, I did some research. It was $100, and I figured something is better. I still need to. We were having this conversation before we started. I've got to go back into my Geico policy and add some stuff to be able so that. Because, like I said, the accessories have gone overboard on my bike, and so I need to make sure that they're covered so that I'm not.
You're an enthusiast, is all.
I'm an enthusiast. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. Like it's sort of like restoring a car. You're going to put more money into it than you're ever going to get out of it.
As if any of our listeners can't relate to spending a lot of money on modifications and not getting a return on their air quotes here investment. Well, the nice thing is on the Monkey, at least, it's super easy to unbolt all those things.
Smiles per miles.
Smiles per mile?
Or whatever it is. That's what's the bike is my point. It's
yeah. Yes.
I was trying to find that
video. I thought it was a brand. I'm like, what?
No. It's a good name for a brand.
It is a good name for a brand. Trademark RCS. Yeah. 2021.
2021. Yeah. We got it. We own it. Yep.
Anyway.
Our lawyer said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to the bike. At least you can unbolt everything and sell it. It wouldn't be that hard. You wouldn't get your investment back, but you'd probably get 50%.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. No, I really don't think I'm ever going to get rid of that bike.
Well, it's kind of the cool thing about it. It is a timeless design to begin with. It already looks like a 1960s, 70s motorcycle. Yeah. And I've learned very quickly, I guess I knew this from how long I rode my Honda 50, even though I was way too big for it, is it's really fun to ride a really small bike.
I feel like I'm on a big bike when I'm riding it, but then I ride past windows that are reflective, and I look like a monkey, like pedaling a tricycle. So it's, that's the fun part, though. So, yeah. I sent you that video of those guys they drove from North Carolina up to Virginia on like Honda 50 trails. Yeah, like that's a good series. Those are the guys that are building the Power Wheels with like 4-wheel drive Power Wheels and stuff like that. They're the same dudes. So
I was watching a video the other day of somebody modified their kids little like one of those Barbie car kind of things.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what these guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically the Power Wheels, and it's basically just the plastic from the Power Wheels that's left over. They've got a Bronco they just built now with a go-kart engine in it, and it's all-wheel drive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This one was just they had hooked up like the battery from a Ryobi drill and everything, but they still had their kid on it, and they did not realize. And then no.
Wheelie?
She rides it out barely, and then she gets off crying. She says, "It scared me, Daddy. It scared me." Well, he feels so bad. It's hilarious.
You got to start him young. There was that famous meme of that girl whose dad did that, and she had a Barbie Corvette, and she was drifting it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a goal to have children like that. Like,
exactly.
Daddy, can I drift? Sure, you're 4. Absolutely.
You're a little big for that.
Yeah.
Step it up.
Exactly. Yeah. Daddy needs to make it so he can ride it. Yeah. So, it's a lot easier that way.
But yeah, I got my foot pegs today. More mods on the way. I know David and Casey at Drivers Club are really excited because they're getting a Drivers Club monkey.
Did you see the photos of Brandon Ben Powell's? Like, he's got it literally, everything is off the frame. It's hanging in his garage.
Yeah, because he's doing the full Sarpins look to the monkey. And then Brian Elich got his, and he's got the rear rack on it, which made me laugh because he's got the T-Rex rack, which I also have. I'm going to put it on for the rally. But he's got the...
I'm talking about the grandma box he put on the back of it. Like, I mean, was he hauling around an extra helmet? Like, I mean,
Well, that's what that box is made for.
Is it?
To hold your helmet. It's a GV... Is it? Maybe it is GV. Maybe it's Giovanni. I can't remember. I think it's GV Luggage. But there's a luggage company.
If he's riding with that box, he has to ride in the back.
But,
plain and simple. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll actually be good for the rally, though, because the box is super lightweight.
Yeah.
And so it'll hold all of his stuff that he needs. So, I mean, it looks ridiculous, but it'll be very functional.
You keep saying that, but, like, literally we have a chase vehicle. I'm going to put everything in the chase vehicle and just basically...
Massive bald eagle flying by the window here. Anyway, sorry.
I don't plan to carry anything with me. I know the truck's going to be a ways behind us, but I'm
going to throw my basic toolkit in there. I've got fuel. I've got those MSR fuel cans that are made for fuel. Don't worry, everyone. And those are going under the seat. Thank God we don't have ABS because it won't fit in the ABS models. And I know we're going to need that. And then I'm going to carry different gear because, like, I was looking at the weather. I'm looking at like average weathers, average days, trying to get a summary of what it's going to be like. And when we start up by the Canadian border, it could be as high as the high 80s to low 80s. On average, it's like high 70s, low 80s. When we get to the top of that pass, it's freezing and still snow on the ground. So,
I didn't think about that.
So I'm carrying I'm going to have my base layer, which is just like a moisture wicking, like jersey type shirt. They'll be tight, and then
Hercules.
Yes, I'll feel sexy.
That's a man on a monkey right there, boys and girls.
Yeah,
that's a real man. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, then I got my other layer, so it's mainly going to be clothing and different gear that I'm going to have to carry with me because there's just no way around it when you're going from 80 to 30 in the same day.
I don't think we're not going to be going that fast on those bikes. Like I don't.
Oh no, we'll be at most 30 miles an hour.
And that's why I think that the follow vehicle is going to be able to keep up with us. And like
I'm hoping,
but I mean I've looked in. I found my old school downhill mountain bike shorts with the padding in the crotch.
Oh, those are coming.
Yeah, that's coming.
For sure.
And I'm looking into, I talked to some guys. I found some, they're out of stock right now, but some basic knee pads kind of, they're basically motocross knee pads, but they're not the high-end stuff. But there's something in case I fall over. And then they're backordered right now, but I'm going to put sliders on the bike.
Yep, for sure. I'm going to do it just in case. They don't do a lot, but they do enough to not.
I figure on the engine and then the front forks and call it a day. It's just. I think it's a good investment. Even if I get the plastic ones and they die, then you take them off and get rid of them. So
yeah, I'm going to do the same thing with that.
Yeah. I mean, the gear is going to be the toughest thing as far as what to wear, I think. I didn't think about the fact of going up in the mountains. I mean, it's Canada down to Oregon. It's all downhill. So I just figured, we stop at the top and go downhill. So it's easy that way. So, yeah.
I like your
riding through the desert, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So. We got a listener mail message from Michael Newell. Thanks. I've known Michael a long time, back from the NSR days. He'll get that. Some of our riders will get that. Anybody in the Northwest who's ridden a motorcycle. Northwest Sport Rider was the old forum pre-Facebook.
Oh, was that like luxury for play, but for motorcycle people?
Nah, it's just a bunch of douchebags on motorcycles, if I'm being honest.
Keyboard jockeys.
We all rode together, and so he's got a Grom that's all built, and he's a big rider. And I know we have a lot of riders now that listen to our show, which is awesome. But they listened to him and his dad went on a road trip, and he picked up some TE37S, like some really nice wheels. He had to go to, I think, Denver to get them back.
Okay.
Which, I mean, if you're looking at a special edition TE37, makes total sense to me. I think his dad just wanted to go along for the ride.
Is this something he's putting on the Grom?
No. It's your Volk TE37.
Oh, okay,
for
got
a project
it.
he's got. I think it's MR2, if I remember right. But anyway,
nice.
Really cool wheels. Congratulations, by the way.
You can make those into Ferraris?
I saw that.
Okay, yeah.
Great Top Gear episode, by the way. But yeah, he powered through like 15 episodes, and it was like his dad thinks we're insane for taking the monkeys on the Wabder.
We are.
There's
not a single person I've told that is like, that's a great idea.
They're like, that sounds like it's going to be a royal pain in the ass. Good luck. Thanks.
So many people come to me and go,
they
that's
all want to do it, though.
Horrible idea. Now, when can I sign up?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it'll be a good time. So, but hey, thanks for the message. We are looking forward to doing that. Let's jump into our Carter Subaru tip of the week, which is going to be a little longer this week because it's a great topic I think people should know about in general, and that is running a tune with a car with a warranty and what does work and what doesn't. And I'm going to cut through all that black and white because in the gray area, there's a lot of gray area when it comes to this. Specifically, we said we drove to Texas, picked up an S3 for Shauna. We drove it back, and one of the things we want to do is a tune because that car has a lot of untapped power. With really, really minor modifications. Yeah. Just a tune on that car, I think, is like another 50 foot-pounds of torque and 35 horsepower just with a tune. And it's $500, so pretty low entry fee and no intake, no exhaust, just a stage 1 tune, 91 octane.
What will that $500 cost you, though, Dan?
The rest of your warranty on powertrain and everything else. Now,
that didn't used to be like that, though.
It didn't used to be like that, and this is a big deal. So this isn't just specific to Audi, Volkswagen, Porsche, whatever. Uncommon to popular belief, and I want to make this really, really, really clear for all our listeners, if you do a tune and you remove it before you take it to the dealer, they still know. Period. On all newer cars.
Yeah, they're on to us.
They're on to us. That is like it's the first step in a powertrain warranty claim. Is they have to check that. They plug in, it reads it, it says, yes, it has been modified, no, it has been not. And if they can tell when the ECU has been reset, they can tell when the ECU has been cleared, they can tell when it's been flashed.
Can they tell if I happen to swap it out?
You can tell it's not the original ECU.
Well, they don't know why.
Right.
That's the only way I could think to get around this, and I don't even know if it would work as the fact of, that would be really expensive. But
so a lot of good manufacturers, and manufacturers that are really stand behind their work, like APR in this case, will still honor your factory powertrain warranty themselves. So now here's where this gets really difficult and not worth your time, okay? As much as I would love an extra 30-plus horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque on that car, you would have to prove that the flash caused the powertrain failure. So you can flash the ECU and make it do what you want, but if you can't prove that flash, that extra horsepower, was the cause of, say, like a transmission failure.
Yeah.
And one of the things, like if you have a 6-speed DSG in that car or a 7-speed, the 6-speed is notoriously weaker. And so they require you to do the transmission tune as well to the tune of another, I think it's $600 or $500 or something. But you're supposed
It's just a tune, though, right?
Yeah, it's a transmission tune.
Yeah.
And it can't do, like, it needs that in tandem for it to work and for them to honor the warranty on it. But you're going to have a really hard, I've seen this over the years too, you're going to have a really hard time proving to the tuning company that their tune caused your failure.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Because they're not going to believe you.
Yeah, they're going to go, well, we'll totally honor your warranty, but you just have to, cruise beyond.
But did you install the extra transmission bracing? Did you install the billet mounts? Did you install a different oil cooler? Did you install XXXXX, which goes down the line? If you did nothing but the tune, we would probably be okay because there's nothing. This car's bone stock.
Yeah.
And so it would be, one, that the likelihood of a failure from that tune is relatively low. Not low enough for me to throw away my powertrain warranty. But it probably wouldn't happen. And because we're not doing any other mods, there would be like, this is the only thing done to the car, period. It would be like, this didn't fail. This is the only thing that's changed.
This car wouldn't have failed if I didn't do this.
Yeah, this is the only thing. It's got service records. We have service on the car. So, like, you could roll that dice if you want to. I'm not going to play your banker, but I wouldn't.
But what are the odds of that tune doing something to that car?
Very low.
Yeah.
Very low. But
well, no, but you're avoiding tens of thousands of dollars of damage that could happen in the fact if something goes bad. Yeah.
Yeah, if you overboost an engine and bend a valve, that's not a little warranty claim. That's a new head.
It's easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're looking at like what? Probably $15,000 claim minimum on a new head in a car?
On an Audi, I can't imagine what it would be on a Porsche or something higher end.
Now think of a 991 Turbo S with the tune, where they can tell the same thing as well and be like, hey, everything's great except you've got this new tune on here. And most of them, like we've had like Tim from BBI on the show, like I trust a BBI tune 100%. If Tim says it's not going to do any damage to the motor, it's not going to do any damage. I trust him. The problem comes up when Porsche comes in. or when Audi comes in and says no.
Well, and Porsche loves to warranty stuff. I mean, it was so easy with your rotor. And I think another part of this we need to talk about is this. We're not just talking about tunes. Like this you can void warranties with suspension mods.
Oh yeah,
things like that. And that's something I really looked into when I was modifying the Subaru as far as the warranties and things like that, because I'm paying for it, even though and everybody thinks I'm crazy because I leased the car, but everything's reversible. But any modifications you make to a car, technically they could come back and say that voids your warranty, because if it's not OEM, then they can get you on that.
Suspension is actually a really good point I wanted to bring up, because this is a big one people don't think about a lot, especially on a car like yours. This is the perfect example. Geometry, exactly. Yep. So not only did we lift the Subaru, but we changed the geometry of the suspension. So which seems obvious. I lifted it, therefore I changed the geometry, but people don't think about it very much, especially when they do a leveling kit, for example. If a good leveling kit or even a mild lift may require a subframe drop. And doing that changes the wear on the drivetrain significantly, especially your clutch.
Yep.
Especially your axles, especially your tie rod ends.
It's the axles that are the biggest thing.
Right. Yeah. And a lifted vehicle with independent suspension and under full articulation, under full turn, can pull the axle right out of the hub, which we've seen on the Citroen, like, for example.
At the least, you'll tear a boot and get dirt in there, and you'll ruin the axle.
Axle, yeah. And doing a CV axle change, if you have the right tools or the know-how, isn't that difficult, but it's probably not going to be covered under your warranty if you do that. Not only is that, is you can cause excessive vibration to the drivetrain when you change it. And I don't mean the axles going in and out on a front-wheel drive configuration, but if you have a drive line that has changed its geometry, like actually the Land Cruisers were notorious for this, they caused a lot of extra vibration in the drivetrain that you've never noticed before because you changed the geometry of it. And the U-joints can't work at that angle as well.
I mean, when and Dan was a big part of this when we started to think about lifting the Subaru, we knew we could go to 2 inches. And right off the bat, I can tell you, it killed the rear struts within like 6 months. We ended up putting, ironically, Öhlins back there.
Not Öhlins, Bilstein.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bilsteins. Yeah, Bilsteins.
Yeah, Öhlins would be awesome, but also $10,000.
Yeah, $10,000. But it didn't cause the front strut. I had an issue with it. That wasn't the issue. That strut was bad, but it can cause that. And if you have a fully warranted car and you go in and you're going, oh, the strut's blown, they can look at you and go, well, your stock strut would have done its job had you not done the things you did to it.
Right. This is where, and I know we're getting a little off the tip of the day, which the main point was being that if you reflash an ECU, they can tell. And if you unflash it, they can tell. So let's just clear that. That's the tip of the week. If you reflash your ECU, the dealer can tell.
End of story. And doesn't matter if even if you think you have friends or your mechanic is your friend, it's not. The minute the computer is plugged in, they have no control over it.
Yeah. They might be able to go to bat for you and say that, hey, if you have a good friend, they may say, hey, this tune didn't cause that failure, but you're setting them up for failure too, which puts a little strain on your friendship.
It's not the tune; it's their horrible driving that caused this issue.
Right.
It's the neutral drops at 100.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, that's a good point. If you're doing launch control on a tune, way more stress on the car than if you didn't have it. Like you can launch a Porsche stock with as many times as you want, literally. Yeah. Porsche doesn't care. They'll tell you to take a brand new car out and launch it. They're so overbuilt that it doesn't matter. You do that with another 100 horsepower on tap, kiss your clutches and diff goodbye.
And car companies, and this is something we've talked about when you had the GTR, car companies are famous for putting features on cars that would void your warranty if you use them. The GTR initially, when you weren't allowed to use the launch control.
Class action lawsuit.
Unless you were at a...
Yeah, it wouldn't activate until the GPS could determine you were on a track originally. Like, it was really crazy how they did that, and it still blew the transmission to hell.
And Nissan didn't want to fix it, even though they put it in the car stock.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, Nissan.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, modding in general, we are proponents of, obviously. We love to mod things, but there's a bigger cost to it, and that's really what I wanted to get at.
The cost down the road is, I mean, I always say if you're going to mod a car, own it outright, know what the cost of the things that can break because of it, and be prepared for that. Because if you're not, then if you raise your you put a big suspension on your car and all of a sudden the drive line's not long enough and it drops, that company's not going to warranty it. Like the Audi, like you're saying, it would be great to have that extra horsepower. It would be fun.
Yeah, oddly enough, Ford's been pretty good about the warranty on the Raptors. Because to do that winch, I've got to do the front mount intercooler, which requires removing it's more than people think. You have to remove the flaps that control. They have like in front of the radiator.
Yeah,
there's these flaps that open and close for hot and cold air.
Cooling,
and I have to cut them out of the dash. Like they don't go back in. Yeah. They're done. They're getting cut out with a grinding wheel.
You didn't watch the video I sent you about buying a Silverado?
I did.
And why Fords are not good? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That video was disturbing. Thank you.
Well, if you replace the R with this, we should post that video sometime. It's a very adult video, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's funny. It depends on the manufacturer. It depends what you're doing, but it's becoming harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
But again, cars are getting faster and faster and faster, so the need to mod is less, but the want is not.
The fact that you can get 1,400 horsepower out of a GTR now. It's like, that'd be fun. That's
kind of tempting.
They're beating Bugattis, so yeah.
Anyway, we're overdue for our first break. Let's take one, and we'll be right back.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty.
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
For people who love cars.
And we're back.
Yep. Let's talk car news. We never quite do that. Like, I mean, I feel like we sit there and we watch Top Gear and we watch all the YouTube stuff, but we never talk about it. Like, I was going through my Instagram today, and if you've never followed a guy called Street Speed 717, just go watch, because and I'm not giving anything away. He jumped his Urus on a dirt jump over his Aventador S today. So that's happening.
He got in some trouble a while back.
Yeah, he got
in a good way.
He jumped his Ram TRX over a stream, and Pennsylvania hit him with like 23 felonies right now.
Right.
Yeah.
On private property.
In
a non-spawning stream.
Yep.
And they didn't leave anything on the ground. And he never touched the stream.
He didn't touch this. He literally went over the stream.
He literally jumped the stream.
I will say that the automotive YouTube game is very interesting. I mean, when you think about Daily Different Exotics, what's happened with them, the Stradman is one of my favorite people in the world to follow. And if you there's a guy called Life of Paulos who kind of summarizes everything. It's kind of neat to catch up on. But there's I depending on when this comes out, I've talked about it or I'm going to talk about it now. Gordon Murray in developing his new car Go look up the fact that they took the engine, they put it on a dyno, and they ran Le Mans with it on the dynos. Which is it's a wonderful thing to calm you down to hear that engine going around that track. But there's so many cool things that are kind of happening in automotive from the tuning aspect, which you should or should not do depending on the Carter Subaru tip of the day.
Depending on how deep your pockets are and how much you want to roll the dice in your warranty.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not so cool, but it's kind of interesting. I think the story is interesting, and I love stories like this just because it's funny what people try and get away with.
I want to pick this story apart as we go through it, right off of the fact with the name.
This is about the company is called Nikola.
And just so we're clear, this is an electric car company that's called itself Nikola. And if you don't know the history behind that, Nikola Tesla, you can kind of put it together. So
so Nikola kind of got this claim to fame not with the commercial consumer product.
They wanted semi-trucks.
Sort of
larger trucks.
They wanted to build a semi, and they were at one point rated at $26 billion was their worth as a company, which is awesome, right? Well, everybody's buying
off
into
of speculation.
Off of speculation, but then it came out that it's basically all fraud. There's been, I think it was Donut Media or somebody else that covered this.
They filmed a video of their truck going down the freeway. How did that happen?
Well, according to internal memos, internal emails that leak, this has been out a little while now. They parked their truck at the top of a very large hill in the middle of nowhere and let it roll down the hill.
Yeah.
With weight toward the front of the trailer so it would carry that momentum so they could use it for a commercial.
So what you're saying is if I want to buy one of these trucks, as long as I have a real semi to pull it up the hills, it will coast down the other side of the hill.
It's the perfect vehicle for carrying a load down a hill.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a large covered wagon.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Except the covered wagon has more technology behind it, and it was more innovative.
Probably true. Yeah, wagons east. Yep.
Right?
Yeah. So it's about the geometry of the wagon.
Yeah. And it said they had a proprietary battery technology that was going to revolutionize the battery industry.
But was it like a bunch of Duracells like linked together, like AAAs?
No, it was just BS.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have anything actually at all. So this is like what's that stuff that Gwyneth Paltrow pushes? Goop. It's the equivalent
Goop?
of that.
I must have missed that one.
Which is just what she sells to lonely women who will buy anything from a celebrity or men, whatever.
Well, I want to buy it. I want
right?
Goop. I want
Who wants
Goop.
Goop?
I want
right?
Goop.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it doesn't exist. It doesn't do anything.
I still want it. I want
the
it more
company's
now.
a total lie. So they have dropped from 26 billion as a rating to 5, which is still pretty good.
I mean, they have, but the technology doesn't exist.
No. Okay. So and they have like this. They put out this photo, quote unquote, this fancy Photoshop of a truck that sort of looks like a Rivian, but Rivian exists and actually is a company.
And if you want to see, actually, A Long Way Up, is that the latest one? Where Rivian, they drove from South America with 2 Harleys and
electric Harleys.
Yeah, electric Harleys all the way up.
Yeah, and
the Rivians made it. The Harleys did not.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I got a hand to Rivian here.
Yeah.
We should give a shout out to a company that's doing good things. I actually believe in Rivian. I think they've got a good product, and they put a lot on the line to do that show, and they showed a failure in one of the trucks during the show. It still made it, which is kind of cool to watch. If you haven't seen Long Way Up, you should as an enthusiast.
And if you haven't seen it, start with A Long Way Around, A Long Way Down, A Long Way Around, then A Long Way Up.
A Long Way Around was the first one,
yep.
And I think by far the best one.
Yep.
And then Long Way Down was good, but Long Way Up was Long Way Up was too commercial in my opinion. Like in a bad way, though.
It lost some. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Anyway, so Nikola's down. They're down another 5%. They're still in the game somehow, and I don't know how they're in the game because it's one of those things. Like even when you read the emails and you know it's true that it's all crap.
Yeah.
Like they put this. I remember they put this semi on display at an auto show, electric semi, that was plugged in, so the lights would work, and there was nothing in it.
Which, I mean, a lot of times in concepts, you will have an empty shell.
Yes, very common to have a shell.
When we first saw 11 years ago the Shelby Supercar SSC Tatwara, it was a shell over some rolling wheel. Well, it barely rolled. You know, I want to talk about them. Speaking of that, that controversy has somewhat been, and I'm using a big, huge air quotes here, cleared up.
Yeah.
If you don't know, I mean, what happened was they did a run with the car. They said it was doing like 287 miles an hour, yet there was a helicopter out the right window of the car that only did 186 miles an hour but was keeping up with the car. They only had one. Their testing system didn't. The people didn't back that up, and so they went back and redid it. They did break the world record, but nowhere near what they supposedly did the first time, of like over 300 miles an hour or something like that. And I think that I think they're going to be. If you don't know, they're a Washington-based company. They're built in the Tri-Cities, but the controversy kind of went away. I mean,
yeah, and I still
it
sort of just fizzled out. Like I want to hear more about it. Again, this is one of those things where I want to know their side of the story. I want to hear it from their mouths.
Well, there's been 6 sides of the stories. I mean, as people,
which is why I want to hear it from Shelby.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to because I think this is like an internal memo thing. Like I don't know. Because initially Shelby came out and said, nope, we did it. Everything's great. And then it came back to, well, we'll do it again. And I mean, and if you're going to do it again, and don't get me wrong, different state, different runway, all that stuff. But there was a 30 or 40 mile difference, and which is a lot when you're in in 250 and over.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's kind of weird. But the funny thing is there's sort of a long history of con artists in the automotive industry.
Oh, of course.
And lying to get ahead. I mean, even on large scale companies that have been around a long time, even huge companies. Actually, the first one that comes to mind of all is Aston Martin. Back when they came out with the DB5, I think it was, or DB4, DB5. Top Gear actually covered this, so I'm going to give Chris Harris some credit here. Not the latest. This was when Chris Harris was doing something for Top Gear, I think, for the magazine. And they were talking about, I think I've talked about this on the show before, where they compared it to a 4-cylinder Honda Accord. A newer one, like a 96 or something Honda Accord, and the Honda Accord smoked it in every category.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, it's not the advancement of modern cars. It was the fact that just Aston Martin lied through their teeth on the horsepower and the numbers of the car. And just flat out lied about all the specs. It's still the most beautiful car, one of the most beautiful cars in the world. I think it's one of my favorite cars that I've ever seen in Drivers Club was the DB4 they had in there. But the fact is all the performance numbers were made up.
Jaguar lied. The XJ220 never went 220. I think
That's
it did
right.
218, something like that.
Yeah, it never quite made it. Yeah. And it's just, but I mean, it goes deep. Those are like light things. When you lie performance numbers a little bit, that's one thing. But then there's like, there's a show that came out on, I think it's Showtime or HBO, about the Dale. Do you remember the Dale? It's an obscure vehicle. It was like a 3-wheeled thing.
Yes, I do.
Supposed to be bulletproof. It's supposed to be like 70 to 90 miles to the gallon. And this is back in like the mid 70s when the gas crunch was still in effect. So having a car that could do that.
Because everybody knows that when something is bulletproof, it makes it lighter. So
yes.
Right.
It's supposed to be 84 miles to the gallon.
Okay.
And it's supposed to carry roughly a $2,000 price tag, about $10,000 in today's money.
Okay.
And it was all a lie. It was all a con artist. Geraldine Elizabeth Carmichael, and incorporated in Nevada. They actually did build one. These things do exist. I think they built like 3 or something like that.
Well, you got to you got to fake people out, but you got to have something.
Yeah.
A shiny pony.
It's HBO, by the way.
Yeah.
But so they had already had legal troubles because obviously everybody's like, that doesn't work. Like, that doesn't exist.
I shot my car. The bullet went through it.
Right. And so they were promised, like, they got a bunch of royalties and investment money. They spent it all. And so, yeah, like it wasn't, and then she disappeared. Like Elizabeth Carmichael, the con artist behind the Dale.
I thought it was a he. Okay.
No,
okay.
That's actually a whole different mystery in this that we probably shouldn't get into on the show.
I'm sure somebody gave her money to invest, and then
her sexual identity is actually a bit of a mystery here too as well.
Okay.
And I'm not going to speculate too much on that because at the time trans wasn't a thing, and so like I don't know, and it's not really known if that is a thing here. I'm sure it is, but there's a lot of rumors that she was actually a he. We don't know if she or he was trans. There's a whole story there.
Okay.
It's an interesting story to say the least.
Could be they. Got it.
Yeah, not sure what the pronoun is there.
Sure.
But Carmichael Bassett, she died in 2004. But the story gets even weirder because she wasn't found until this came up on Unsolved Mysteries in 1989. That's how they tracked her down, and it gets even weirder because they found her, and it's still going by her because that's what she's identified as in everything here. She was found in Dale, Texas. She was hiding in Dale, Texas.
Plain sight.
Yeah, running a flower shop.
Well, but I mean, and there's been car companies that have been successful, but then the ownership is kind of like, I mean, DeLorean is a famous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they made a movie about that.
Yeah, good movie, by the way.
Yeah, good movie. But I think I get the idea that you want to overpromise.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of an under-promise, over-deliver kind of guy, but I mean, I get. Absolutely. It's like when a concept car comes out. Half the features that you see in that car aren't going to come out. But, and you can see that it's plugged into the floor. But it's tough.
Yeah, it's... I don't know why people keep doing this in the automotive world, especially now. I mean, I guess it's just a run
it's harder and harder.
It's sort of like an IPO thing, I think. It's almost like car companies are moving into the tech company era.
Well, they are.
They are, especially in the electric category, I guess. But it's I think you're getting all that investment money and then hoping to sell it off and hoping it fails, and you don't care if it fails.
On the opposite side of that is Christian von Koenigsegg, who underpromises everything and then blows everybody out of the water.
Yes, so, everybody take a listen from a tip from Koenigsegg.
Yeah. I mean, that new four-door sedan, he goes, yeah, this is the concept car, but there's going to be stuff we haven't put on it that's going to be in the real car. You're getting all of this. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
4-cylinder engine, 1,400 horsepower, carry four people to 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. Yeah. That'd be fun.
No valves.
Yep. That'd be a lot of fun. I could deal with that.
Is it a single speed too, or a 2-speed or something? Some weird transmission.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's out of the Agera, not the Agera, maybe the Agera. Yeah.
I can't remember which one, but
and the Jesco. God, that was over a year and almost 2 years ago we saw those cars. Yeah, that's interesting.
Anyway, interesting news from the automotive world lately, though.
There's a lot of really interesting things that are coming out. There's so many rumors out there as far as what's going to be happening in the future. And I think technology is obviously taking over. You look at what Tesla's doing and things like that. And I think that the days of the combustion engine are numbered.
Yeah,
which sucks.
Yeah.
I understand the whole fossil fuels thing, and I mean, as we sit here in Washington State paying over $4 a gallon in gas, so
I was laughing the other day. We had to fill. We were out riding. We filled with the monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was $4 a gallon at the Shell
Yep.
off of what's that? Fall City.
Redmond Fall City. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, man, this is gonna suck. It's, I had to put $3 in it.
$3 whole. It was. I mean, I figured it out, Dan. I have put over 500 miles on the Monkey. I think it's cost me $6. Something. I think it might be $5.45, but I think it's around $6. So, it's. I just don't know if it's going to be a good investment to keep.
Yeah.
Don't know if I can afford to drive it that much. So.
Yeah, if you're looking to save money in gas, highly recommend Monkey or a motorcycle in general. It's just a fantastic.
Not a Harley though. Harleys only get like 100 miles of the tank, and they've got a few gallon tanks on there too.
Well, I think my RC51 was even worse than my Street Fighter. My RC51 was, maybe because it was the way I was riding it versus every other bike I've had, but V-twins in general. But even on my worst days, I think I got like 35 miles to the gallon.
I never figured out what the gas mileage was on my Hayabusa because I didn't own it long enough. My R1 was not good because I had that thing pinned as much as I could.
Yeah, right.
And then at the time I owned it, I was sitting in parking lots going, which is really good for the engines, by the way. So, yeah.
Most fun you can have on a motorcycle, I mean, outside of a Monkey, which
Parked
I still
or
think,
no?
is a supermotard, which is just a dirt bike with slicks on it. Supermotard is the actual name, and a dirt bike with slicks on it is the most fun I've ever had on a motorcycle because stairs. Have you ever jumped off stairs on a motorcycle? You can.
I have not.
I mean, there's not a places you can do that, but you can get away from those places with a lot of ease.
I see what you're saying. Hypothetically, if you had to
if there were
escape,
stairs or a skate park,
got it.
You could have a lot of fun on a bike like that.
I did not know that. I mean, I personally, I'm liking the dual sport kind of the idea of bikes right now.
Yeah.
I don't need anything, but it'd be nice.
I just love exploring.
Right?
I want to talk about another trend, totally off topic of what we've been talking about, but
there's a main topic to this night,
right? But this is just in-car news. This is something we've been seeing more and more of. Everybody's aware of this. People are financing vehicles longer. Because like the standard, I think at one point was like 36 months. Then it went to 48. Then it's 60. Well, now it's bumped to 84.96, and like this,
Roy Katz has been doing that for years. You could
on exotic cars, it wasn't that unheard of. Like mainly because you were getting a relatively good return on investment. It's a funny thing. If you financed a 6-speed Murcielago when they were $150,000 for 10 years, that was still a really smart investment.
Absolutely.
So, but there's not a lot of cars that can do that, and people should be aware of that. If you're new to the game, this is not where you want to roll your dice.
You're saying I shouldn't have gotten that 84-month loan on the Kia?
Well, funny you should mention that.
It's $6 a month, Dan. Come on.
Well, Kia makes a nice car now, actually.
No, I would. I actually
not a '90s Kia.
I saw one of the new Genesis on the road.
Oh,
the
nice.
SUV. Oh my
the
God,
SUVs are gorgeous.
Jesus, wow.
When did we ever think we'd say that? Man, that new Hyundai is looking good.
Well, I mean, Dan and I had some kind of inside information that was happening when Genesis split off, and I didn't think it was going to be a good thing, but wow,
yeah,
it's really cool.
The Genesis, it took them forever to come out with an SUV.
I know,
but so Nissan right now, a little internal press release that leaked, by the way. Nissan's going to be paying dealers more to steer customers toward 84 or 96 months lease.
Why?
Longer term lease, longer term interest.
Oh, 84-month lease
on a Nissan. What Nissan do you lease at 84 or 96 months outside of a GTR?
GTR,
which you shouldn't do anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oddly, they've been good investments. Oddly, GTRs have been good investments. Probably. They've all tanked at 60, which when they were 70 new, that was a really good thing. They're 150 now.
Okay,
but
so you take a $150,000 car, you lease it for 84 months. What is the residual going to be? What do you think the residual is still going to be 60 to 70? I mean, there's no.
Yeah, they'll probably bottom at 60 to 70 if the transmission lasts that long.
And an 84-month lease.
Will the transmission last 84 and 96 months?
Also,
because the warranty won't.
I'd be interested to see what Nissan's terms are as far as mileage, because a lot of times on especially we'll get away from the GTR, but so you're gonna lease a Sentra for 8.
This is not a lease. This is finance.
Oh, okay.
So 84-month financing, and dealers will get as much. They'll get a $450 kickback, is what the memo is saying that I read.
Okay. I didn't know Nissan was doing that good. It's funny. I was driving down Airport Way, and they built that brand new Nissan dealership right down there by Jack's, and it's brand new. They've taken all the signs down now, and Nissan has not moved in.
Weird.
Well,
Nissan's been in trouble for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it here in Bellevue, like you can barely find the Nissan dealership here if you don't know where to look.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing with long-term leasing or long-term financing that we have to address in this, and is that this is bad overall. Not only is it a bad decision to finance anything that long, period. There's no there's
especially
no
if you're a
upside
car
to
guy, you're not going to want to keep a car that long.
You're not. Yeah. Not only are you not going to keep a car
Yeah.
like that long, but this is bad because it specifically targets lower income people.
Yeah.
Which puts them in a worse position. Like the smart thing to do is to buy a much cheaper vehicle on a much shorter term financing goal so that you can pay it off and be right side up. You're not getting anything fancy, but that's how you get ahead later. You don't keep yourself in debt as long as possible.
Well, that's what, 6 years? 84 months? 6 years? Yeah.
5 years, 60. 6 years is 72.
Yeah, 84 is
So
7 years.
7 to 8 year financing. Jesus. But I mean, like, that just seems predatory. It seems like predatory lending.
Well, no, it is. And you are taking advantage of the person that goes, well, I work 40 hours a week. I make $15 an hour at McDonald's, and I work my ass off. But I really want a new Sentra, or I've got a family and I need a minivan. And you're signing on that dotted line that's a long time.
Yeah. This article does a good job from Jalopnik here that I'm reading. So the average Nissan depreciation for an Altima, which is their most popular selling car, good percent, 60% after 5 years. 60% depreciation. Now, keep in mind, we've talked about this before. Fleet vehicles, Altimas, Sentras, anything that goes to a rental fleet. So a Taurus, any vehicle that you can get in a rental fleet has no bottom, which means it'll depreciate to absolute zero. Yeah. So there's no upside to keeping a car this long. I mean,
so you got to
financing a car this long, not keeping, financing.
A new Sentra's got to be what, 30? We'll say 30.
So no, Ultima's 26,453 average selling price.
So you mean your residual is going to be 12, 13?
Yeah. This, like I said, this just seems like predatory lending.
And that's after 5 years. There's no way. I mean, like, I know for a fact, not to give out too much personal information, my lease with my Subaru for 3 years, and all maintenance and all included, at the end the residual is still 15. Yeah. And out the door it was 25, 26, something like that. So I mean,
that's pretty good.
But I'm saying in a 3-year-old car will be worth that. A 5-year-old car that's going to have I don't know how many miles on it, even if you're financing it, is not going to be worth that. You're not going to be able. You're going to be underwater the whole time. You're never going to get out.
Yeah. Like I said, this just seems like a payday loan on a car.
Well, but then you get in that habit where you go trade in the car and you take the negative from the one car and roll it into the next one. That's what they're banking on. Yeah. Oh, wow. You're right. It is predatory. Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, the people that are going to need to do this are going to get higher interest rates too at that rate. It's not like they're going to be, high credit. Yeah. They're not going to be in the 700 to 800 range. I mean, it just doesn't seem like that person, the person with the high credit score, isn't going to go out there and do an 84-month lease unless they're doing it on a limited edition exotic that's going to appreciate. And they're putting, $70,000 down.
I wonder how Rain City Supercar's credit score is. I mean, maybe we need to be looking into, I don't know. I mean, Rain City R8s for everybody?
I'm in.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we would like a 90-month finance on this, please.
Yeah, I like to say we're not a finance show. We're not a money show. We always say don't be somebody else's banker, but this just seems like a terrible thing for the industry to go to. It's just not good for consumers.
I'm sure the numbers look good. I'm sure when you sit down, you go, "Oh, wow, I can get my
new Altima for $150 a month."
Yeah,
why not?
Go buy a Kia. It'll last you better. The warranty will be better. Yeah, anything.
Buy a Subaru. It's got way better residual value, especially here.
Yeah. So, but there will always be somebody here that will buy a Subaru.
Yes, exactly. Subarus last year, and they last a long time too. We know plenty of people with 2014 Crosstreks that are still running them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, off road too.
Carl's got one of those new ones with the turbos in it.
We're never gonna let him.
I love you, Carl.
Yeah, but I don't know. I from Nissan's side, I'm not justifying it. I understand it because they've been in pretty dire straits, so they need the money. But this is just, I don't like it. I don't like it.
But Nissan's just the example. This means other people are doing this. I mean, I guess unless for like a work vehicle. But you're still underwater though. Like you look at it and you go, okay, so I own a trucking company and I need 3 F-150s and I'm going to finance them for.
It just seems the thing is though is I just don't like. I guess you could see the smart move in that would be like if you were going to buy an Altima for $26,000 or $27,000, let's say. And you have $15,000 to put down, and you want to keep your payment super low because you got like a stock dividend coming in that you can pay it off with, and you're like, I just don't want to think about my payment at all, so I'm going to finance it for 96 months, but I'm going to pay it off in 10.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that just so your payment's as low as possible, and you forget it. But nobody does that.
But
that's not real world.
I guarantee you there's a penalty for early payoff on that.
Oh, you're probably right.
I guarantee you, if they're protecting every dollar they can make there, they're gonna look at it and go, if you're signing this, I'm sure you have to at least pay out for the 4 to 5 years before you can early pay it off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's something like, after 60 months we'll allow an early payoff, but I don't know. It's
just so listeners know, most credit unions don't have early payoff fees. So if you're financing through most credit unions, I can't think of a single credit union that has an early payoff fee, and they usually have lower rates. Just my 2 cents on financing lots of cars. So
they'll give you a loan.
Yeah, harder to get rates. But anyway, Anyway, what else we got? Well,
I don't know. I keep looking back. We're sitting here looking at our phones. I'm looking back at all the stupid crap I've looked on YouTube and things that I wanted to talk about. But
there's always more that I think of after the episode immediately.
Of course,
but
that's the way it goes.
Well, Avance events. We talked about this on the other episode, but track day at the Ridge. That's this Saturday, 8 to 5. Track days are coming back more and more and more. They never really left. They were the one thing that kept going because we could still do them with COVID, but we're seeing more of them now.
Yeah,
the driving schools are open up, and you can sit in the car with an instructor, and it's fine.
Which is lovely.
Yes, and then we've got, that's the 10th. 17th, another track day. Avance Portland listeners, Oregon listeners, hi. Portland International Raceway, 7 to 5, and then off-road event. Nick won't be there for that. I will be. That is 10 to 3. And then 18th, Avance Autocross at Sanderson Field. That'll be fun. That's over in Shelton, by the way. So Sanderson Field.
And then Exotics is opening on the 24th, and Dan and I are now pledging, if Exotics is on, we will be there with the monkeys.
Yes.
So we'll be making a show, making a monkey show.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You will all be entertained at our
Absolutely.
monkey riding.
Watch the big guys on the little bikes.
Yours is getting a lot of attention there. I've seen bikes come up there.
Yeah.
And we'll park outside the show, of course. But
fun. I can't stop talking about that bike. It makes me happy. So
once you see it, you'll know.
Yeah. Well,
because everybody does.
What's the Ferris Bueller line? If you have the means, I highly suggest.
Yes, if you have the means, I highly suggest it.
So
he was referencing that California Spider.
Another one that gives me chills.
Yeah. So if you have $35 million for one of those, I also suggest it.
I don't know. I can do a lot of stupid $35 million. I can do a lot of stupid with $1 million, but I don't know if I'd put it into one car. So all right, well. We apologize for last week, but Dan needed some time off, and as I said before, you don't want me editing this, so or coming anywhere near it. Like, hi, this is my inner thoughts, coming at you live from the bathroom.
Probably good acoustics.
Yeah, sure, yeah. So, for this episode of Rain City Supercars, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.